Thank you for letting me butt in before this terrific reading of Ray Taylor's. I'm the director of New Mexico CultureNet, as some of you may know. We run a Poets in the Schools program, which reaches about 4,000 Santa Fe middle school and high school kids each year, between 3 and 6 times each. On the 16th, it's a Thursday evening, we're having a performance called Poetry Jam at the Lanzac at 7 p.m. And I invite you to come. Ray is going to be one of the performers, Lauren Camp, Joan Logie, Michelle Harlan, the Tubers, a contemporary hip-hop group duo from Albuquerque. Someone you maybe have not heard of, but he will knock your socks off. A man named Idris Goodwin. Almost all of these people work with me in the Poets in the Schools program. They're terrific. A lot of the kids with whom we work will also be reading. After Poetry Jam at the Lanzac, there's a benefit for the Poets in Schools program at Fusion, which is a short block from the Lanzac. I invite you to come. Tickets for both events are priced so anyone can afford them. Tickets for the Lanzac performance are $10 each, $5 for students and teachers. The Fusion benefit is $20 a person with complimentary hors d'oeuvres, 2 people for $30. You don't have to be a couple, you can be friends. Anyway, thank you, and we're really delighted that Ray made contact with us, and she sent a CD, and it really knocked my socks off. And then I was doubly delighted to know that Ray's niece, Julie Hasted, is someone with whom we've worked for the last 5 years. So anyway, thank you, Paul. We're really glad to be here.
Thanks, Alex. Ray's CD knocked my sock, both of my socks off. So. This is my intro for Ray. Is everybody, if there's a couple more seats here on the bench, if you need to sit down, come on over and sit down on the bench over here. So Ray has shared the stage at the Festival International des Poésies Trois Rivières, Quebec, no? Okay.
French is not your second
It's going to be my third language. Quebec at the Loreto Chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and one of Spoken Word's favorite homes, Casa del Popolo in Montreal. The finely wrought music that accompanies her both on stage and on her CD, Black Grace, which Ray has some copies of here, is composed for her poems and performed by Montreal's celebrated David Gossage. I very much enjoyed her CDs, so if you're inclined to buy one, she'll have them for sale hereafter. Living, writing, and working in Santa Fe, as well as in the province of Quebec, Canada, Ray Marie's semi-nomadic life and work bridged the North and the South. Initially a visual artist, solo performances of her original poetry first accompanied her sculpture and installation exhibits in both worlds. Currently, Ray is completing a book of essays concerned with our beleaguered earth. An essay from the book is forthcoming in the anthology, The Return of the River, to be published this spring by Sunstone Press. And here's Ray.
Thank you very much, Paul, and thank you, Alex, too, for including the whole atmosphere tonight in the Poetry Jam. And I'm very moved to be here, and I really do want to thank Paul very much for inviting me to be the featured poet this evening. I haven't read in Santa Fe since 2005 because I don't live here all the time. I live in Quebec City part of the time, and the last time was at the Loreto Chapel in 2005. So I'm very glad to be here again with my poems and with a little bit of music. David has recorded a number of things for me so that when I travel around I can still use some of his music. I'm very grateful to all of you for being here. Already I feel it's a wonderful party, and I'm looking forward to sharing the poems with you. I want to also thank Paul for being the technical assistant. So he'll be controlling the music, and as you know, with poetry you want the music to be kind of a blend with the voice and support the voice, but not drown out the voice. So we can't tell from up here how loud the music is. We've done a sound check, but it could change during the evening. So if you feel the music is a bit too loud, just signal Paul, wave at him, and he'll adjust it. Won't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that was all we really needed to say before I start. Oh, I want to thank Pablo, who's doing a video documentation so that Paul will have a record of this evening for us. So among the poems I chose for this evening, there are a few that I'll start with that actually have to do with the hills north of Santa Fe, around Tesuque. So I'll begin with those. Paul requested one poem in French, or something in French, so I chose one poem which we'll end with, and after I've read it in French, you'll have a little shortened English version of it as well. And the other poems in the middle are taken either from the Loretta Chapel show or from the CD. So I hope you'll enjoy them. And I tend, when it feels like a special event, which tonight does, I tend to like to dedicate a reading. So I'd like to dedicate this reading to friendships. Old standing friendships or new friendships here or elsewhere. Because friendships seem to me so important in creating the human tapestry that we need so much in our societies today. So, let's go. The first three poems are a cappella. And this one is entitled Big Tesuque. Winter forest, in the day's light, long falls of pine needles, hung like orchids on quiet trunks, brighten the whispering wind, glisten, while ponderosa hold still their odors, guarding their bouquet for inner saplines, led deep into the soft, red, pine-covered earth, where we step, trail, tread, listen to the glistening light, sound through clumps of pine needles, hung like orchids on quiet trunks. Sudden was the moon lit when the clattering of coyotes against the mountain rose and abrupted into silence? Or were the black ravens born when they appeared, new and sudden-winged, out of the morning glow? Return, return, above the village, barely beyond, deer dance in dawn, glow, breathe, reverent elders murmuring chant, offer corn, fire. Black Mesa is so white in the morning light. Frost, perhaps, or the blush of pollen on prayer. Occupation, sacred. 3 tiny finite creatures under the porch, a torn nest, so small I couldn't tell whether they were birds or bats. 2 are dead, dry, whole, yellow-beaked. I heard a tiny squeak later as I sat on the steps just above them. Then, on all fours, poking into the dusty realm, looking at the one, I saw the minded striving for air in the other. The third one next to him seemed smaller and drier than the first. I wrapped the dead with the tatters of nest in newspaper to burn and bless. The barely living one I lifted into a bag and took across the road, where at the foot of a tree next to a wild pink rose, I laid him, her, the fine struggling remnant of a life. not knowing if this was a good spot for a bird or a bat to resuscitate, but surely a fresh, lovely one to rest. It is a fine, pure day. Cisco and I sit absorbed. Storms, coyote scat, bear tracks, glistening meadow, wild orchids under leaves, something big in the willows. Rain again, pattering. Cisco, so tired, he snores. Still stone, black grace of night sky, peaks, pine, the cold grip of stream. This morning, the little bird bat is dead among the wild rose, strawberry plants, and pine. Not shriveled really, but tiny and dry, weightless, sinking into the undergrowth, its little body slipping more than quietly away. Where she sprinkles pine needles and dust. More voice or more
Voice.
Yeah.
Track 2. Diaphragm. A little more music. Diaphanous. The geese, your poem, the wind, the wind. The body phrasing a sharp earth hunger, rhyming with the slow molten magma, quickening. Your hunger quickened at its source, and now sprung into the pattern and chaos of things. Intoned on that formless scale, here I walk among the stone and concrete, listening, grasping the long waves on the tuning fork of death, for your life sounds. I know now Kabir's great sound. It is light like a flute, wider than the songs we make. A far membrane of music, I hear it, vibrant, encompassing, cellular, memories, living, your elegant heart holding flame in the cave, your words, wrought iron, our words, black, alive, éphémère. Oh my God. I walk, the air and the light-sounding silence between us. I promised to go on, ma belle. I told you as I lay dying I would, rigorous, supple, stay, with the work of words and clay. O éphémère, how weightless this mass we are, seemingly inconsequential, this fragile coherence, I know. Still, what are our lives worth? Well wrought, rendered, then rent from the crust of our days. Only love, this euphony in B-flat, adagio cantabile, allegro vivace, encore, magma, presto agitato, the geese, your poem, the wind, the wind. That was a homage to a poet friend of mine who died a while ago. A thought. The fundamental generosity of life is its coalescing from void into matter. Time and time and time renewed. Sperm, children, bearded iris, dogs, men-loving women, wild garlic, water, rock. The fundamental dome, the sounding joy. Believe in the great sound. The great sound is a term that the Hindu poet Kabir uses in his poetry for that spiritual dimension. Maybe you've been out hiking. At the end of the day, as the dew cools the forest floor, exhausted or not, you will want to see the elk. It is close to dusk. Still, I have surprised them. So many of them. A herd, mild, gentle, trailing through the trees, moving so silently with me, I with them. So quiet. Hoof and foot softening the trail. Trailing through the trees, mild, gentle, a herd of them. Breathing in breathless space, so quiet, they nod, straggle, gather. Having lived alone with them, I too am still as we move, close to the quiet of dusk, approaching the edge of the meadow. Still, they startle and immerse the swollen instant with their flight. Soundless, the pungent stink of their fear usurps the place of hide and hoof. Scattered now, invisible in the willows, they stand, absolute elk. Dawn, wet with chamisa bloom, all the solitary rivers of my childhood return to me that day with you and the sage and the willow meadows and the deer in the gorge after the storm. That day, hiking out on the edge of light with you. This poem, which is a cappella again, is dedicated to all of us who have at one point or another heard the question, does it matter? Does art matter? Does poetry matter? Does the wild matter? Do our own very own particular lives matter? Etc. So it's called Matter. Matter? Spirit, seed, bone, you see, I say are what matter in all this matter. The flesh, joyous flesh, I'm so grateful for flesh, is the icing on the bark, on the bone, I mean trunk, tree. For a bark to the bone, you see, matter can be moved, splashed, thickly applied, carefully spread, touched, printed, or planted, sprouted, or eaten, or buried. But grace, you see, comes through bone, connected to bone, moving with spirit, structured from seed. Grace, you see, trust your bones. love song for what we are losing. Sing the shattered having, the shattered hoping, the shattered honing of lives. Sing for the cratered desert, chant with the thunder of tides. Grieve for the oil on ocean, hum with the lapping, receding tides. Sing for the breath in our bodies, hum for the breathless bodies. Stroke a child's hands playfully, tussle her hair, gladden to the laughter of friends, chant for the laboring of love, muscles that move, bricks that stay put, kind eyes telling. Weep for husbands with scattered limbs, wail for masses in disheveled homes. Soothe the wives with blinded eyes, ache for the children, they have been bombed. Weep, don't reel, swing, sway, rock softly, sing for sorrow, hum thoughtfully for the humiliation, hum. Sing for the vanishing tenderness of our lives, chant, love, dance for its return. Grieve our lost, easy, unknowing days, hum, for now we know, hum to our grief in knowing, chant our horror at knowing, hum, for now we ask, where is our America? No hay más América, est-ce qu'il n'y a plus d'Amérique? Chant for our disbelieving, even though we know. Pray against our disbelieving, even though we know. Chant for our loneliness in knowing, again. Speak for the vanishing tenderness of our lives. Praise, dance, sing for its return. Sigh to the daily touch of a lover's skin. Love, don't languish. Stand. Bow to the thunder of tides. Hope for the eruption of spring. Fall with veils of sky and sweeping rain. Dance, ferocious. Rejoice for a time you did not fear. Sing for a time you will not fear. Halt the waging of war, check the torturing of souls, praise the tender men, exult in boisterous women, chant Laudamus for hopeful children, chant love for strong minds, hope for outrage. Stand stilled, knead red clay and summer sands, stir to the purple-throated sage, whisper with wildly woven moss, hear the sky spreading itself thick with stars. Wrapped, dance with the falcons and merciful rain, hum with Venus setting at dusk, chant for a time we will not fear, sing together in the light fabric of day, step gently, heed the lapping, receding tides. Don't sway, glide, step, turn, soothe, stand with orchids in the wind. This next one is for Cynthia. Who's here today? Moonrise, the land. Vast and solid, was very light and transparent, and we, seated around the fire ring, around the stones, simple, smooth, peaked, complete. We were, clearly, I saw us in the lightless dusk, light, seated around the fire, stones. By the high sunflowers, naturally alight, in the breeze with the great sky, the snapping of wings, the lilting distance, coyotes' tremblings, breath, immense, seated around the fire, all solid flesh and moon. Rappel d'être, se rappeler comme le cardinal qui chante rouge sur la corde non pas raide, confiant sur les fils contre le ciel là-haut. Le cardinal écarlate s'en va du matin, appelle, interpelle l'autre corps, poitrine rougie, deux rythmes de voix, deux chants, il s'appelle, il s'interpelle. Et nous, enfants de la terre, terre-matière, toute chair, tous de la terre, de qui sommes-nous, les bien-aimés? Remember being alive, like the cardinal singing on the telephone wire, first the male calling, then the female, both breasts blushing, confident, scarlet, two songs joyous in the morning sky above. And for us, children of the earth, all flesh, all from the earth, for whom are we the beloved? Our friends, that's for sure. Our country, in Obama's case perhaps. Our mother, we can always hope. Our children, lost or found again. Our lovers, lost, or those faithfully holding on. Children of the earth, for whom are we the beloved?
Thanks, Ray.